Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Unstoppable Marketer podcast. With me, as always, is my co-host, Mark Goldhart. Marcus, how are you?
Doing good.
Do people ever call you Marcus?
Nope.
That is not your actual name, right?
No.
Oh, okay. It is just Mark.
Just Mark, yeah.
Mark always sounds short for something, but
Yeah, there's, no.
I guess it would just be Marcus if your name
Yeah,
was
no one
Marcus.
ever really called me Marcus. People would call me Goldie.
If it's not your name, then
or
I guess.
Goldilocks.
Yeah.
That was the nickname.
How are you?
Good.
Yeah.
Tired.
Tired?
It's been a dreary week. A lot of rain, a lot of snow, a lot of clouds.
Yeah. It's been like wet.
Not a lot of vitamin D.
Wet rain. It's
Yeah.
like, or wet snow. All rain is wet. But like wet snow here, like heavy,
Sleet.
yeah.
But the Super Bowl's coming up. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, you already know the winner of the Super Bowl, but we don't.
Who do you think's going to win?
Now. I don't know. Do you believe the NFL's rigged?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
If I believe that the NFL is rigged, I'd say the Chiefs will win. Because
Possibly.
I think that bodes well for their image because of Taylor. But I think the 49ers are a better team.
You think the 49ers are a better team?
Yeah, and that's coming from somebody who's not like wildly savvy in the NFL. So take that for whatever it means.
Well, they are favored.
Yeah, they are favored. They have the better record.
What are they favored by?
I don't know.
What's the line, Abby? Do you know what the line is for the Super Bowl? I think I saw it was like set at, I want to say it was like 3.5.
Oh, are they?
Is the line like the favorite? Like
Yeah.
the 2-point favorite?
2 points.
2 points now? Okay.
So they're favored, but, it is in Las Vegas, so it's easier for San Fran, but that doesn't really matter with Super Bowl.
No.
I think you're right. I think maybe the 49ers have a better roster.
Yeah, like overall.
Yeah, they have a better roster, but they don't have Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, did you watch
They don't have a team that's been there and won
Totally.
how many? I mean, they've won 6 AFC championships.
And how many Super Bowls now? 2 or 3?
They've won 2,
Okay.
and they've lost 1 or 2.
Yeah, in the last 6 years they've been in 4 Super Bowls or something.
Not 4, but yeah, I think 3, maybe 4.
Yeah. I Patrick Mahomes is something else for sure. So I think that's a good point. But I really love, is it Cafferty? Or is it McCaffrey? McCaffrey. I really love
McCaffrey.
him. I loved watching him. He played for Stanford, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when Stanford would eat the Utes lunch back in the day.
Yeah,
Back when
during their
Stanford-
run.
It was the last time Stanford was
Yeah.
a good top 5, 10 team, was when he was on that. And he's really come out of his he's always been pretty good.
He's always been
NFL,
great.
but
he was unbelievable with the Panthers, but
Yeah.
yeah,
but he's been awesome here.
he's obviously a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal player. I think Purdy's really good too.
Yeah.
I don't know why he gets so much hate. I think he's actually a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
But again, it's just a different, I'm going with the Chiefs because I love Andy Reid.
I love Andy Reid too. I want the Chiefs to win. And my son is obsessed with Pat Mahomes.
And I think Pat Mahomes is just they haven't been as great as they have in the past necessarily, their offense, but their defense has been better this year, in my opinion. And they have the X factor. It's like having Tom Brady, right? If you have Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, even if they're the underdogs, you just go with Tom Brady.
When he was at the Bucks, right?
Yeah, you just go with Tom Brady because he's been there and he knows how to win.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Where the 49ers don't know how to win at that level yet. And again, they might win. I don't really I'm not going to be sad if the Chiefs lose because I don't really have a true dog in the fight, but
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs win.
I hope that. That's what I'd like. But I think I'm just okay, how about this? What's the over under? Let's do this. What's the over under on how many times they show Taylor Swift?
Oh, it's got to be 20.
Okay. We'll put $20.
I bet it's 20 times, right?
Okay, if the line's 20,
I don't know what the line is. I'll check.
No, do you think somebody has the line?
Oh, of course they do.
Okay.
Dude, there's lines for everything now.
How many times Taylor Swift will be shown? What do you, yeah.
So the over-under on Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift prop bets dominate Super Bowl action.
Let's do this. Give me the over-under, and then you and I will place our own bet together.
Bet online, which is based in Panama. Will Swift mention Chiefs Kelsey at Tokyo show is a bet. Yes or no?
I'm sure she will.
Will Swift's travel from Japan to Las Vegas be shown on CBS?
Guaranteed.
Like, will they have a flight tracker like Santa Claus?
Guaranteed.
Yes or no? Man, that's good.
Time shown.
Is she going to be the first person shown next to the Super Bowl logo? No. They'll have someone on the team. Do they have, like, what are her colors? Like, what she's going to be wearing when she gets off? What's her lipstick color? Will her parents be at the game? I don't see anything on how many times she is shown.
Well, let's give...
Oh, here it is. How long will Taylor Swift be shown live? Under 25 seconds or over 25 seconds? It's 25 and a half is the line.
Is the line? Okay.
Yes or no?
I'm going to take...
You going under or over?
I'm going to go... Well, let's see. It seems like when they show her, it's anywhere from like 2 to 4 seconds.
I think it's less than that, but yeah.
Like less than 2 seconds?
I think it's like 2 seconds. It
Okay.
feels like maybe 2 to 4, but I think...
So let's say 2 seconds. So that means you said, what is it? 25 seconds or 26
25
seconds?
and a half seconds.
Okay. So we're looking at like 12 to 13 showings of her. That's the that's the line. I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over.
You're going over on her being shown live for 25 and a half seconds?
Yes.
I mean, I would be, live. I'm going under. I think she'll make over that appearance, but not live. Because the question is if she gets shown live.
I don't know what that means. What's the difference?
Live is like in game. She's live in her suite or cheering, and they show her.
Oh, versus like a picture of her or
Versus a
something?
picture.
Okay.
Versus a concert clip or whatever.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go under.
We go $20 on that?
Yeah, we'll go $20 on that.
All right. The camera sees it.
Yep.
This is a gentleman's
But
agreement.
here's the next one. Taylor Swift appear in a Super Bowl commercial.
I say yes.
You think she will?
I do.
Yeah, I do too. That one's kind of easy.
All right. Look, my hand is out.
Well,
camera's
we got to
waiting.
find another one. You got to have at least 2 bets. Only one over under?
That's the only one I really care about the most.
Okay. Okay, when will Taylor Swift be shown live for the first time?
Like how
How far into the game?
what's the time over under?
It says first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter.
First. Easy. Stupid.
I'm actually gonna say, live. I don't know. Is she gonna make it? Do we know if she's gonna make it?
Oh, that's a good point. I forgot about the timing. I'd say second or third then. I forget about the timing. She's got a 13-hour flight from Japan. All right, we got to squash this Taylor Swift conversation. People listening to this are probably getting like, okay, we're like 10 minutes into this podcast.
We'll cut out like half of this.
You know?
We can chop that up. Yeah, there's nothing really good.
Okay. All right, my hand's out again.
All right, I do fist bumps.
No,
Yeah,
we have to shake. It's a bet.
I know. A fist bump is my honor. I don't shake right now.
Why?
6th season. I haven't shaken anybody's hand in months.
Fine. I did wash my hands right before I came in
I believe you,
because I was going potty.
but it's also me.
Yeah. I want the germs, you know?
I don't.
Well, I may have already said this before, but I get sick all the time during 6th season. I get a head cold at least 3 times from December, sometimes November, like November to February.
Yeah, the
Like
bugs are
end
out.
of February, you know? But this year, I told my wife that I'm not going to get it at all. Because we are sleeping like 8 hours plus a night. And I've never really done that. So I've taken all my vitamins, I'm eating healthier, and I've been sleeping and I haven't got it yet.
No sickies.
No sickies. I did get the stomach flu one time, but
Well,
to
it's
me
not a
that
head
doesn't
cold.
count as much because like it's just weird. Like that just can, you know,
Yeah.
enough people around you have the stomach flu. It's almost impossible to avoid it.
It is.
So
But the Super Bowl and ads, I think it's interesting because it's the biggest advertising platform, supposedly, in the world. Tons of competition to get in there.
yeah, the most expensive, probably advertising. You know, time.
Yeah, because it's one game, right? People say the World Cup, but the World Cup is so many games and it lasts for so long, right? Like it's not as coveted.
Well, not only that, but it's also all around the
International.
world, and you know, Super Bowls. Even though a lot of people around the world watch it, it's like most people who are doing it is for probably American.
Yeah. I mean,
Consumers.
obviously, America is the most consuming nation per capita of any country. So it'll be interesting to see how people are advertising this year, right? Usually people lean on funny.
Mm-hmm.
In the past couple of years, people have kind of been going a little more serious. There's been some serious tones in there, but I'm going to be very interested to see how people use that space.
Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be very interesting, especially with Taylor Swift, because like I think we talked about this on a previous episode. She is going to bring another additional demographic in the household watching, right? You might have more moms who are paying attention or daughters,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you know, younger ladies that may usually be there at the Super Bowl party, but
Right.
they're in the other room.
But yeah, maybe they're watching on their
Or
own
maybe-
this time on their phones.
Yeah.
Like, who knows?
Yeah,
It's another reason to tune in.
agreed.
So I think it's a great thing for the NFL. They should promote it as much as they can.
Yeah, sounds like it could be manufactured.
Yeah, I don't think it is. Too much weight. But with digital advertising, Super Bowl doesn't really matter. This is all television. On the digital side, this year is going to be a
We got
big
another
year
big thing
with
happening this year, right?
the elections.
Election year.
Yep. And spending in Meta has gone up, from 2023 to 2022. I believe Meta spend was up 25%.
Okay.
When I say Meta spend, I mean Meta revenue, meaning advertiser spending in Meta
Right.
has gone up 25% year over
Yes.
year from 2022.
Yep.
So there is increased spend in the Meta ad platform, which encompasses Instagram and Facebook and
Yeah.
whatever. So how does that affect advertising this year?
The main impact will be your costs, primarily your CPMs.
And so CPMs mean cost per 1,000 impressions, which, not to get confused, does not mean you reach 1,000 people.
Yes. Impressions is essentially how often eyeballs saw your ad, or it appeared on your screen where your eyeballs could have seen the ad.
Yeah.
And it can be multiple times per person.
Which would be your frequency.
Yes.
So you have reach, impressions, but most people just use the impression mark,
Yes.
right?
And so CPMs oftentimes dictate, a lot of people don't recognize this, but your CPM can oftentimes just dictate the cost of the customer, to acquire that customer, even though there are several things that have to happen. For example, a click, going to the website, adding to cart, checking out. There's so many other things here, but that CPM is the start of what you are going to pay to acquire that customer. And so that's why CPMs are super, super important, right?
Yeah, but there's arguments out there on D2C Twitter, of course. There's always an argument about everything. But the main concern, obviously, is revenue and cost per acquisition. However, it all starts with a CPM. So it's not that CPM is your gold star, but sometimes if you're wondering, oh, my cost per acquisition went way up, like, it might be because CPMs went up.
Sure.
And sometimes that matters and sometimes it doesn't, depending on the season and your lifetime value or average order value. There's a lot of things that go into your business.
Totally.
Right? We're not really big believers in like a one size fits all. We think there's different strategies for different kinds of businesses, but
Sure.
especially with where you're at, right? Like, what works for a big business doesn't work for a small business.
Yeah.
However, I think it's important for everyone to understand the supply demand curve of what a CPM is.
Yes.
Because there is, even though, meta use is growing, it's still a zero-sum game in terms of how you reach eyeballs on Meta.
Yeah.
And that is the supply and the demand of people advertising to reach those eyeballs, which eventually will affect your CPMs.
So I think you're getting to this, but let's talk about what are some things that might increase or decrease a CPM. Because a lot of people
at the basic, like, all things constant. So let's just throw out your ads and the performance of your ads and the qualifiers that you might get. What affects it is essentially the demand of advertising and the supply of eyeballs. So people on their phones looking at Instagram or Facebook.
Yep.
So something that might affect that is Black Friday.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. A good example of this would be Black Friday.
A lot of advertisers start spending more money to get their sales and their promotions in front of people.
So the demand is higher.
Demand is higher.
Yep.
But the supply of people at times is higher on certain days because they might not be at work.
Sure.
Or they are at work, where that's actually an interesting thing. Is it does seem like people are actually on their phones less when they're not at work, but that's for a topic for another day.
Yeah.
But, so it just depends on the day.
Yep.
And how often people are on their phones. But more people are trying to advertise or spending more money. So maybe not more people, but more money is being spent.
Totally.
Which means they're trying to place their ads more often.
Yep.
Which creates more competition to serve your ad.
Yep.
To the people you want to have see it.
Yep, I agree.
Right. And then for different kinds of brands, it depends on the season. So if you're let's call it a
fitness
brand, like, you're probably competing against more people in the fitness space
in January
and February.
Yep. But if you're a swimwear brand,
probably doesn't start till May, April.
Yeah.
Yep. And so anyways, all things constant, that affects your CPMs is their seasonality, and also it's sometimes industry specific.
Yeah, for sure.
But with an election season coming up, I think they're projecting to spend, I don't know what it is, $10 billion this year across all channels.
Well,
I think 1.6 billion in digital.
Yeah, well, it's probably more than that in digital, because in 2020, from January to October, the World Wide Web told me that Biden spent just over $100 million, and Trump spent around $135 million between Google and Meta.
Yeah.
Right. That's not TVs and traditional, and that's where Mark's getting this like $10 billion number here.
You also have to remember that it's not just presidentials.
Totally.
There's other elections happening, so it adds up.
Yeah, totally.
And just to give you guys an idea, I think quarter 3 of 2023 was like 35 or 38 billion spent within Meta.
So, they say the last 6 weeks of the election is going to be
is where they spend most of their money.
Yeah, and that so what happened in 2020, the last presidential election, your CPMs on average rose 20 to 40%,
depending on your
industry and niche, whatever.
Yep. So I think a lot of people just need to be prepared for this, which might mean if you're a seasonal product that has more of a summer spring slant, if you're not spending more in the summer and the spring, and if you're planning on spending a bunch in the fall, or if you have like a lot of times people just spend the same amount every month all year.
Totally.
You want to start reevaluating.
Yeah.
How you're spending your money. You want to spend probably a lot more
right now,
which you should be doing anyways.
Yeah.
But try to get your eggs now while you can until there's that 6 week pressure point.
Let's give you just an example. Let's say you are a swimwear brand or a more summer brand, like summery brand. You should really think about weighting your spend significantly heavier from now until June,
when people stop buying swimwear.
Exactly. And so like a common theme that I've probably said on the podcast, I know I say it with our clients all the time, is just chase the conversion rate, right? When the conversion rate is high, spend. That's always a safe time to say spend more money, So even though your CPMs might be higher right now because you are in the swimwear time of the year, right? Because February is when people do generally start to buy swimwear. Spend, right? So if you have $1 million to spend, I'm just using $1 million because I can do easy math here, rather than spending $880 or 88, what is it, $82 or $88,000 a month. That gives you $1 million. I can't remember what the number is, but it's like 83,000. Sorry. Rather than spending $83,000 every month, maybe you should be spending $200,000 for the first 5 months.
Yeah.
Or more.
Or more, depending on your business.
Yeah. So.
And then also remember that the election is going to happen in November, beginning of November. So it's November 5th, and then Black Friday is November 29th.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a pretty tight 2 months in terms of CPMs.
Yeah, end of Q3, Q4 is going to be really tight.
It's going to be tight.
Yeah.
So
you'll see it. If I remember right, though, and I should have done some research, I feel like we saw a big relief in 2020 in December, though. You oftentimes do anyways.
Yeah.
But it was big, if I remember, at least for the people we were working with.
Yeah, and I think a good tip for everyone out there is a lot of people just stop spending after Black Friday.
Yeah.
But just think about a common sense example. Just think about you and your family. Are you all done shopping on Black Friday?
No.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
Like people are buying.
Yeah, you might have 75% of it done.
I would wager far less than that for most households.
Well, not only like so for example, my wife and I shouldn't say my wife and I. My wife does a great job, and we're almost done. Like we are over 75% done by Black Friday. But with that said, we still are going to take advantage of deals for stuff that may have nothing to do with Christmas.
Well, so you're done with Christmas shopping.
Yeah.
Right? But are you done shopping?
No, yeah, we might be
like
more...
maybe you're done shopping for your kids.
Sure.
Or for gifts, but are you done shopping for you?
No,
Because
I mean,
you're in a buying mood, right?
yeah, you're not, especially if there's offers that are like, I can't pass that up.
Yeah,
You
people
know,
buy them.
like I'm actually a lot more impulsive in December.
Everyone is.
Yeah.
Well, that's the psychological game, right? Because you're saying yes, and so now that you've said yes so many times, like you're saying yes more often.
Sure.
This podcast episode is brought to you by Bestie. Bestie is the first ever AI-powered post-purchase survey platform. Bestie is revolutionizing the way you understand your customers. Are you uncertain about what motivates your customers to choose your products? Unsure how customers are discovering your brand or which marketing channels are most effective in driving sales to your website? Or do you know how long it takes your customers to make a purchase decision? Look no further because Bestie is the ultimate solution for you. With Bestie's cutting-edge AI feature, you can effortlessly create comprehensive surveys in just a matter of seconds without the need for any of your valuable time. And that is not all. Bestie's automated insights will regularly provide you with actionable information week over week, giving you the tools to drive your business forward. Now, with the holiday season in full swing, there is no better time to start gathering valuable customer data. Bestie is offering an exclusive 30% discount for Q4 alongside a 14-day free trial. Do not miss out on this opportunity to supercharge your business and truly get to know your customers. As e-commerce owners and agency owners ourselves, we use Bestie every single day to help us make better decisions on how we communicate, acquire, and grow our customers. Visit Bestie AI or check out apps.shopify.com/bestie today to secure your Q4 pricing. Don't wait. Start making data-driven decisions with Bestie today.
So here's this though. Okay, so we're kind of like comparing election year to Black Friday, right? And the only reason we're doing that is just to kind of say, hey, it's the supply demand conversation. Black Friday CPMs go up because of this. Same thing's going to happen over these political campaigns, but the demand is just the fact that you're getting so many more politicians and people who are running for office who are spending a significant amount more than what happened in 2023.
And from a significant amount more than what happens on an everyday basis.
Exactly.
Right? Like it's a new category that gets flushed into the system.
Totally. So now
CPMs are affected.
So you're up against all these political ads that have nothing to do with buying anything, you know?
Right.
So, okay, so CPMs rise significantly over Black Friday, but it's okay because CPMs, we oftentimes see CPMs start to rise in October-ish, right?
So CPMs will start rising because demand, it starts increasing.
Yes.
Because people are prepping
Yep,
or they
exactly.
have early sales. You know, a lot of people are starting their Black Friday sales in the first week of November, which
Yep.
I'll be surprised to see how that plays out this year.
Totally.
But nonetheless, yeah.
So like, I'll give you a good example. Like when we were a part of another brand, you know, October was always a loss year from us. Like we recognized that we weren't.
Yeah, because
like,
buying goes down historically anyways because people are waiting for deals.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
at the same time, you needed to prep. You needed to build your retargeting pools. You still wanted to acquire customers so that they could then come back and buy 30 days later on a deal, you know? And so it was an important strategy, and we were able to like look past the loss in October knowing that we were going to win like crazy in November, and it was going to make up for anything we lost in October. So that was a strategy of ours.
Yeah, and a big point of what you just brought up, just so the audience knows, is it's more expensive generally in a lot of brands. It's more expensive to acquire a customer in October. But generally speaking, October cohorts have a high returning rate the next month because of the deals.
Which means that they have a high returning rate for the rest of the year.
Which is
for the next 12
counterintuitive
months.
to most people.
Sure.
They think, oh, they're going to be mad, but it's like, dude, everyone knows a deal's coming in November. So if you can get someone to buy in October, you can generally increase their returning rate by November.
And the rule of thumb is if you can get somebody to buy within 60 days of the first purchase,
their LTV goes
their
up.
LTV is going to go up 100% within 12 months.
Yeah.
So
it's worth taking a loss sometimes for some companies.
Totally. Yep. Not for
October.
everybody, but so what I'm trying to get at, there's a point that I'm trying to make with this is you can justify the CPMs because your conversion rates are going to skyrocket.
in Black Friday, yes.
Yep, over November. But that's not going to happen necessarily.
During October? No.
No, I'm talking now for political.
That's what I'm saying, October.
But we know that it's going to
So 6
probably
weeks
start
prior.
in more like September, right?
Yeah, 6 weeks prior to the election. We're talking like last week of September.
Yep. So what should you do?
So what we are advising brands and the people that we consult with is to, especially if you have a product that is a spring product, right? Or we call them like wardrobe changing months. So a lot of companies have wardrobe changing months, which is if you're a clothing brand or apparel brand or sport brand or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Your biggest and best and most profitable months are probably actually going to be like May. So April, May, June.
Yeah. And a lot of times March.
And then like
You know.
end of August, so back to school, and then September, and then like kind of into October, but not usually.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So-
People start buying for fall in August.
Especially if you fall into those categories, consider spending more during those months. A lot of people don't. It's
Yeah.
crazy, but you'd be surprised. A lot of people don't spend more in those months. So you
Yeah.
should be spending a lot more in months that are favorable to you anyways from
Agreed.
a profitability standpoint.
Yeah. Agreed.
And then our advice is don't jump the gun. Like, yes, we're predicting that CPMs are going to go up, but don't jump the gun. Like, just see how it plays out for a week or two.
Yeah.
So take advantage of the times that are profitable for you, especially if they're before those times.
Totally.
And then when the time comes, like, don't plan on not spending.
Right.
Just
Yeah. If CPMs didn't rise as much as
cover
you
your
thought,
bases
yeah.
before you get there, and then you don't have to be as worried about October.
And the good news about this strategy for the people who have buying seasons like earlier is whether CPMs rise or not, this is the right strategy. Whether it's an election year or not,
Yeah.
you should just be spending more money. We got to get, I think brands have to get out of the habit of, okay, we have $500,000, split that up, divide that by 12. This is what we're spending. You got to get out of that habit, and you also got to get out of the habit of trying to make every month better than the next, because some months just are not better. Like if you're a brand where your target audience is women over the age 20, call it 30,
Right.
guess what? Those are generally mothers. And when their kids are at home starting in end of May, right? Like they're not on their phone shopping as much because they're with their kids a significant amount more and they're traveling.
Yeah.
So moms aren't spending as much money. Now, dads do. Dads will spend some money during that time, but moms are running around. So like there's so many brands who are like, we got to find a way to make, June and July better. And it's like, sure, yes, you should always be trying to find ways to grow and do, but
you should also be leaning into when the demand is there.
why don't you lean more into the demand and, do what you will with June, July. So that's what I love about this kind of thought and strategy here is like whether the elections F up CPMs or not, what we're suggesting is the right call. So
Yeah, every time.
yeah. So another thing that I think is important is, and this is something that always falls by the wayside is, so remember we said, hey, you can justify the price for the increased CPMs for Black Friday because you're going to oftentimes see your conversion rate double or triple with these offers. Okay. So the other thing that brands should be doing is I think brands need to be taking a better look at their conversion rate optimization strategies. And once again, whether the CPM stuff happens for elections or not, this is only going to benefit you. And so just spend some time, especially in those off months, maybe, right? So if June and July are off months, spend time and maybe some of that money even, right? Like if you were normally planning on spending $100,000 in June, maybe you're dipping that spend in June and you're putting some money into hiring the right people to optimize your website so that conversion rate, because even a lift from like a 1.5% to a 1.75% is a massive lift, in revenue that will be brought in.
Yeah, that's like a 15% lift.
Exactly.
So if your CPMs rise by 15%, all things constant here, like, so that just means we're not looking at all the other variables.
Right. Yep.
If you can increase your conversion rate by 15%,
Then you're fine.
you're evened out.
Yeah.
And it'll only serve you better after the elections.
Yeah. All stuff you should be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll serve you even better during Black Friday, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like conversion rate. So what does that mean? Obviously there are, depending on, like, I know some websites that look so bad that convert really, really high. And that's just because their product is awesome.
Well, also conversion rate optimization isn't always aesthetic
Totally.
optimization.
Yeah.
Like
Totally.
Amazon is an ugly experience. And we've talked about that before.
Yeah. But
But
it works and they've never changed it and they have more money than anybody to change it.
yeah, I've heard some pushback from this. Like, well, whatever the pushback is, it's ugly. Like, they could do better. It's like, dude, Amazon spends money to test the colors of buttons. Like, that's how
Yeah.
big they are. Like,
Yeah.
you're not that big. Like, the color of your button doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Amazon is so big that they will spend money to optimize colors of buttons and
9
everything.
different shades of blue.
Like, are you telling me
Yeah.
they have not spent time and money to make sure that those product pages convert?
Yeah.
Of course they have.
Yeah.
So they do it. It's ugly, but it works.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why it works, right? And every product page should probably follow that template. You have social proof at the top, right? You have your headline, you have your price, right? About 3.
Social proof at the top, meaning like
have your review total.
reviews. Yep.
Right. And there's other tricks of the trade here.
Another big thing, like we just talked about this with one of our clients, is like imagery.
Imagery.
Yeah, depending on what type of product you have, like especially apparel. Apparel that oftentimes does not show well just alone.
On a flat lay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or yeah, exactly. So get it on your models. Show different sizes of models. Hey, this is what a large t-shirt looks like versus an extra large versus a small. This is what, a small bikini looks like versus an XL. Those things are very, very visual things that consumers want to see. And that is only going to help the buying process. I think that imagery is underutilized on the product page.
It
Videos,
is.
if you can.
Underutilized and underthought.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's imagery. There's the overall template and flow of your product pages, but consider hiring like a conversion rate optimization specialist. Consider what tests you can run, and if you don't have the money to hire out that, because it's not really something you need full time.
Sure.
But consider it. Maybe consider using someone in house that might have those skill sets to run tests.
Yeah, or do some research on your own.
Do some research,
Like,
test some things out.
Conversion rate optimization is, and I don't mean this for
And also, let me just back up a little bit. Conversion rate optimization, when we're talking about images, it could be as simple as if you have a product that's unisex, having a male landing page and a female landing page.
Yeah. Landing pages is also really good.
Matching the experience
Optimization,
with
yeah,
the ads. Like, it might not be a whole revamp of everything of your page.
Yeah.
It might just be simply giving someone an experience that matches the ad.
Yeah. Yeah, most people, another thing to kind of like, let's keep going into that direction because I like where you're going with this, is like most people in their ad game are sending people to one of 3 pages.
Collection page, home page, or product page.
Exactly, right? And you can deem those all as landing pages. They're all
Yeah.
technically landing pages, but if we transition the conversation to what like a typical landing page, like a lander is it's almost like a collection page, but it's more curated. Right.
Yeah.
So if you are, selling hats or pants or swimsuits, or shoes, it's usually around your bestseller. Like, create that landing page around like one of your best selling products, and curate that page to have, a massive headline that is calling out a specific value props, that has social proof on it, that has video on it, that has, up close and personals of the pants stretching or whatever those like cool features of it are.
Yeah, which would be a listicle.
Yeah,
Some people
yeah,
call them listicles.
And there's plenty of types of landing, but that's also a really interesting way for you to test to see could my conversion rates increase if I was sending somebody to a very hyper targeted page versus sending somebody to a homepage.
Yeah. And so we'd recommend, there's an app, if you're on Shopify, Replo is a good
Replo,
one.
Gem
Unbounce.
Pages, Shogun. Like those are your 3 more common Shopify.
And Unbounce.
For Shopify?
No, maybe not Shopify.
Not as much. I mean, you can.
And then you also got, I think Zipify has one.
Yeah, Zipify does as well. That's a good
They're more known for their
upsells.
but
Yeah.
they have a landing page builder as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, just try a landing page.
Yeah.
And, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But if you can, if you can find those little hidden diamonds in the rough right now before high
the madness
CPM
starts.
season,
Yeah.
then it's going to benefit you
I agree.
immensely now and later.
Yeah. Totally agree.
And it's such a low, and when you really think about like CRO, it's really low risk if you know how to run the test.
Totally. It's low risk and it's easy too, right? Like these landing pages are drag and drop 90% of the time.
Yeah, so you just got to build it and then let it run for a day or two, depending on your traffic.
Sure.
Get statistical relevant results, and then pretty huge win in the long run.
Yeah.
So I think that's honestly our recommendation. Then obviously, the other thing you can do is just make better ads.
Yeah.
And we talk about it all the time, but just get to know your customer, really hone in on if your ads are engaging or not, whether that be through ad copy, statics, or whether that be through videos. So I was looking at Mudwater ads the other day. Do you know Mudwater?
Yeah, of course.
So
their ads were like they had like a really big cadence where it was like, I do shrooms. Like that was like their like hook.
Yeah.
Because it's like filled with reishi mushroom or something like that.
Yeah, it's like a coffee substitute.
Yeah.
But something that they do really well in their ads, I don't know who runs their ads, but the way they speak to their target audience is they have identified an enemy, which is coffee. So they're attacking coffee all the time in their ads, or they're going with like the unique, we're a mushroom drink.
Yeah.
Like take your shrooms. Right? Kind of playing with words and catching your attention.
Yeah.
But they've clearly identified, like, what's the problem? It's coffee. We are the solution to it. Mm-hmm. Like, don't get so hopped up on caffeine every day.
Yeah.
Get the same energy with more benefits with us.
Yeah.
So they've done an awesome job with that. And then AG1, which is obviously well-known, they do a really good job of simplifying what they are. And this is another thing that I think a lot of brands get caught up with. Like if I see something that brands do a poor job of, it's simplifying their message. And what AG1 has always done a really good job with is it's like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff, but just take us. It's simple.
Yeah.
Like get all of your greens in one and your vitamins.
Yep.
Just take us. Don't worry about all that. Like we're the solution. 75 plus ingredients.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody's going through and reading all the ingredients.
Yeah.
Most people are saying, oh yeah, that makes my life easy.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Totally. And they are not the most healthy greens either.
If you're going by like strict scientific, probably not.
No.
But
because
good, better,
they
best.
simplify it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're
like,
better and they're
they're
not the best, but they're better.
Yeah, you could do more research and find something better. But because of their marketing, they're, the number, probably, I mean, I don't know this, but I would imagine they're the number one athletic, like green.
Or greens drink? They have to be.
Greens drink. Yeah, exactly.
They have to be.
Yeah. One thing I actually want to call out, this is kind of like straying away from this political conversation, but I actually love what you brought up because I heard this the other day, is like every good brand has an enemy. I like that with Mudwater, it's coffee is the enemy. Like, so don't be afraid to, when you create your content, to make an enemy.
Yep.
In this
AG1
world.
is multivitamins.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you have an enemy, you're gonna hate all the coffee drinkers are gonna hate it, like not want it, But
But you're not converting those people
exactly.
anyways.
That's not your audience, and we get
Yeah.
so caught up in like like any coffee because here it is like. We're in a boardroom at Mudwater, and it wouldn't be crazy for somebody to be like, as we're talking about our customers, for them to be like, well, everyone who drinks coffee should be drinking us because coffee's not good for you. Like that's probably something that's been said.
Or they should be supplementing us with their coffee or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and you could go down a really dark path for your brand if you really, really lean into that thought of saying, well, let's try to be converting these coffee drinkers where it's no. You need to convert the people who are sick of coffee, who are feeling like they have less energy, even though they should have more because they're drinking coffee. Those are the people you need the people who are figuring that out. Like that's who we're going for. And there's this plethora of people who fit that mold.
Yes.
And the good thing about that is I would imagine that there are people who fall into that every day, right?
Yeah, and there's two types of coffee drinkers, right? So there's the coffee drinkers that love it, that genuinely
like the savants of coffee.
Love coffee, and they might drink a lot or a little or maybe 1 cup or 2 or 4, but they love coffee. You're not converting those people.
No.
You have the other people that are drinking coffee out there, or energy drinks, that are doing it simply because they might be addicted at this point, or they feel the need because they're so tired throughout the day.
I got up at 6 a.m. I need my coffee.
So they're just like, I have to drink it at 3 to get through the workday.
Yep.
Like that's the person you're converting, is the person who's like doesn't really want to, but they're just like, I have to get through the day.
Yeah. So common enemy.
So you're not trying to convert coffee drinkers. You're trying to catch the people that are like, I want to feel a little better.
Yep.
And I want the benefits. So it's like a performance enhancer at that point, not a.
Yeah, exactly. So don't be afraid to have an enemy. You should. And if you don't, my guess is maybe you're not doing as great as you could be.
Well, I think define an enemy for a brand, right? So some brands create enemies out of other brands.
Sure.
Right?
Yep. Cola, Pepsi.
The taste tests, right, were better than
even
them.
though they're the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
McDonald's and Burger King have always kind of had a little...
Yeah, competition.
But to be fair, it's always been more Burger King against McDonald's than ever McDonald's to Burger King.
Yeah.
So you can identify
it's
a
usually
brand.
the underdog that does that.
Yeah, it's usually the underdog.
Yeah. Pepsi didn't do the Pepsi. It wasn't Cole that did the taste test challenge. It was Pepsi.
It was Pepsi. Yeah. Exactly. So you can do that, and it can be effective. But, with Mudwater, they're not attacking a brand. They're attacking like an entire industry.
Yep.
Also, AG1 with a lot of their adverts for multivitamins, like multivitamins isn't a company. There's a lot of companies that do multivitamins.
Yeah, there's one, I'm going to bring this up just because he was on the podcast, but Leo Olson, their enemy for Lucky Egg
was Monopoly.
Yep. Right? And so it was after a company, but it was the idea.
Well, Monopoly is not a company; it's a product.
Is
it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But it was the idea that games are long and can be boring and you lose interest. It was like, we make games that could end quick, that are fun, that are loud, that can get lots of people involved.
And then you can end it when you need to.
Exactly. That you're not going to get sick of.
Yep.
And so that was like their enemy was old school board game, essentially, even though they made Monopoly the enemy. Just because that is such a common game. Everyone knows what Monopoly is.
Yeah.
So
and forming an enemy, you're going to exclude some people.
Yeah, and you need to exclude people.
But if you don't, then it's really hard to advertise to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and
going back to the CPM conversation.
Yeah.
CPMs, you get some qualifiers, right? It's a game. Like the more engaging you are to the people you're targeting, and the easier time the algorithm can have targeting people with your ads, if you're running broad, which means you've really effectively created ad copy that is self-selecting.
Self-targeting, yeah.
Or the creative as well.
Yep.
Then your CPMs will drop as well.
Yeah.
because they want, again, going back to Charlie,
Yeah.
they want people to stay on their platform and be engaged on their platform. They don't want people to get bad experiences. So if your experience, yes, it might be a quote bad experience for some, but the people that it's a good experience for outweighs the negative comments. Negative comments are engagement, so they like that.
This is a good point. Facebook, they're in a, would you call this a juxtaposition where they need to make money, but they also need to do what's right for the customer, right? Meaning,
I don't think it is a juxtaposition, but yes, I can see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
There might be you could see that as competing interests.
yeah, where it's like, you know,
Like we want people to stay on the platform, but we also need people to like.
yeah, because if people don't stay on the platform,
Buy.
then eventually people are going to say, well, I don't want to be on Facebook and Instagram. I'm going to go over to TikTok because they're providing me better things, right? And if that happens,
Correct.
then you lose the supply,
Correct.
right? So Facebook is going to, for the most part, say what you want about it, do what's going to keep people engaged and interested. And that's why it's so critical to invest in your ads, whether it's hiring out somebody like from a film perspective and creating content that's going to work. And we can shout out Film Lab. Like this is a group of people that we work with all the time and that our clients work with. They do this podcast for us. They're an incredible video agency and production agency that can do that kind of stuff. Or it's more of this UGC side of things. Like you gotta spend time, effort, and potentially money in getting the right kind of content that's going to be engaging to people. So, and you can take this conversation and also say, hey, you should do that on the organic side too. Like I know we're talking a lot about ads, but something else that is also going to be very, very helpful to you if CPMs are going to rise is if you can find ways to hit the organic side of things, that's going to fill your targeting pool up for free,
Yeah.
right? So you're not paying for the CPMs on the organic stuff, right? So a lot of times what happens in advertising is, Mark talked a little bit about frequency, is like oftentimes people don't buy off the very first time they saw an ad. It might be the second or third time they saw that ad. And so so oftentimes you're paying multiple times for those eyeballs to see your ads. Whereas if you can get them before you pay, then you're 1 or 2 or 3 steps ahead. And maybe all it does take is one ad because they've already seen everything from you, but none of that's been a call to action to buy, but you have the ad that's got the call to action to buy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It just increases your touch points,
exactly.
which is, if you can increase touch points without spend, is always optimal.
Always. And your spend game is always improved when you can do that.
Yeah. When you do it.
Yeah.
So-
What's nice about all these tips is like, sorry, you can finish your saying. I was gonna say what's nice about these tips is like none of this is like you should just be doing all these things. They're strategies to prep for the 2024, but they're also just things that you should do whether the 2024 elections happened or not.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. It is.
Yeah.
But it's just good because we all get caught up in the day to day. So it's good reminders because
Yeah.
I know a lot of people think about CRO but never do anything.
Yeah.
Or they think about, we need to maybe freshen up the way we're talking about our
Yeah.
brand, but never do it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, my recommendation is going back to like the enemy. I just want to call this out before we close up. Brands are often afraid of conflict. So if there's negative comments or if
Yeah.
people get mad, they're really scared of that.
Yeah.
But going back to like what Facebook or Meta values is people staying and being engaged on their platforms. To play devil's advocate, negativity or people reacting in a negative way is often the way people stay on a platform.
Totally.
And so when you do create an enemy and you get people maybe a little riled up, I'm not saying like
Go out and say something.
go and say something
Salacious.
vitriolic.
Yeah.
But if you call out an enemy and you get people defending that, your ad will do better.
That's what's awesome about negative people is what negative people never understand on social media is you are the biggest supporters of the people you hate.
Yes.
The best way to shut up somebody who you disagree with is to not give them the time of day, but yet every one of us is so stupid and we want to do that, right? Like Donald Trump gets so much more press from the people who hate him than the people who love him.
Yeah, there's a good argument that maybe he got a lot of free press because of that.
It's not even an argument. That's fact, dude.
And then if you go to like the Wolf of Wall Street example, right? He got negative publicity, and then a bunch of people showed up like wanting to work for him.
Totally. Yeah.
Like everybody like thought he was the coolest guy ever after the negative publicity. Not everybody, but the people that would work for him. And I'm not saying what that guy did was
you don't condone
morally acceptable.
Yeah.
But there's just a good idea here that sometimes negativity will actually bring people to you as well.
Yeah.
So
always. It always will.
But
if you do, like, there are certain negative things you say something that everyone deems something racist, for example.
Well, yeah, that's what we're suggesting. That's not what
we're suggesting to do here.
Negativity is simply if you're calling out an enemy, your enemy as a brand, and let's say you're let's say you're a blanket company, and you're calling out crappy fabric and like lame blankets.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have some people that be like, well, quilting is great because blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like ditch the quilts, get us, or whatever it is, right? Like you're gonna get people defending quilts, but that's fine.
Or like Olipop. Like Olipop's a good example just because we're drinking it right now. Like their enemy is soda.
Right? Oh, their enemy is like just unhealthy.
Yeah. Right. Like I think
soda.
on their can it's like a new kind of soda.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's their. So the enemy is Coke, right? So they're going to come at Coke and they're going to come at soda and Sprite and all these different soda companies.
Yep.
And guess what? Like I know plenty of people in my life who have 3 or 4 Diet Cokes a day. And
they'll defend it till they die.
Yeah, and they're, and like seeing something like that about how terrible that lifestyle is would make that person very upset.
But Olipop's not trying to convert that person.
No. So alienate him. Even more. It works.
We need a little controversy sometimes. That's how the big boys play.
That's how the big boys do it.
That's how the big companies do it.
Yep. Agreed. Well, prep.
Yep, prep.
Now is the time to prep. My guess is chances are if you're listening to this, you've already done your, your 2024 planning and maybe your first half of the year planning. Like, I highly recommend that if you've already done that planning and some of these things aren't fitting within your plan from a budgeting perspective, like you can budget plans, like they're all meant to change. You don't have to just like do it because you said that this is what you're going to do. So if you are one of those people who are planning on spending the same amount and you have seasonal times, highly recommend that you go back and reevaluate that because end of Q3 and Q4 are going to be expensive. And there's a really good chance you miss those revenue goals.
And we hope we're wrong. Maybe
I would love that.
Maybe Meta does something where it doesn't affect your CPMs, but
I'd be so into that.
Traditionally,
not
the case.
We don't mind being wrong in those situations.
Love being wrong in those situations. That'd be great.
Yeah, because it helps us too.
Then everyone can just have a rockin' year, the whole year.
Yeah.
But cool.
To a rockin' year.
To a rockin' year.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for, as always, thank you for listening. We'll see you guys next week, right?
Probably.
We will. I promise. Thank you so much for listening to the Unstoppable Marketer podcast. Please go rate and subscribe the podcast, whether it's good or bad. We want to hear from you because we always want to make this podcast better. If you want to get in touch with me or give me any direct feedback, please go follow me and get in touch with me. I am at the Trevor Crump on both Instagram and TikTok. Thank you, and we will see you next week.